so much in your speaking experience. Another comment, which is the grammar. This person, of course, was following everything. And if you remember, the first thing we said at the very beginning of the lecture is that you have to use grammatical range, like a range of grammatical structures. So the more grammar structures you use, the more efficient your structure or your speaking component is. So why not using simple sentences? Why not using complex sentences? What about compound sentences? In the course, I said that we'll be just doing this in order to be to have like an error-free sentences, right? In order to be very specific, he talks about the pronunciation. There's the car just waiting for me downstairs, maybe. So his pronunciation is clear. So as much as you can, you make your pronunciation as clear or as clear as crystal, right? Another thing is to follow, easy to follow. I mean, sometimes people talk and you don't understand what he's talking about, right? He uses both stress and intonation, right? So I want to tell you something about speaking, giving one sentence. As much as you can, try to highlight the most important word, and this is what we're going to learn throughout the course. So when to raise your voice at a certain point, when to make it low. That's why this is called intonation, like high and low pitches and so on in the sound, in the voice, right? So as much as you can, try to stick to these comments in order for everybody to be able to express well his speaking. Like one point about the course, this is the course content. Of course, there are eight days. In each day, we have something like we have orientation the first day, we have grammar, placement test and survey, we have vocabulary list. So every day of the course, we have like a range of vocabulary, like vocabulary list. Why so? Because these are the commonly used, the commonly recognized vocabularies. Like we'll be talking about books and films, we're talking about traveling, about relationships, about education, environment, food, and so on. And also, I have prepared like listening-based discussion and speaking. Like we'll be listening to people, talking about them, giving feedback, and talking about their experiences. And every day, I will be expecting your voice notes. Everybody send a voice note throughout the WhatsApp. I just give evaluation according to the criteria that you have, like fluency, lexical resources, grammatical range, and everything. Whether his flow is okay, whether he have a lot of stoppages, and so on. So the course is filled with a lot of ideas to discover. Another thing that I'll be doing a kind of understanding the topic, how you understand the topic, how you speak one-to-one in a mock test, like to be confident in your speaking test. How to give your talk, how to explore a theme, like you have a theme and he gives you a paper to write down. How can you generate ideas and brainstorm about certain topics? How you can make notes, as I just said, on newspapers. How to depend on online resources, right? How to get like different topics. Can you imagine that I have just picked these things in order to expand them in one of the speaking sessions, right? So as much as you can, we will be able to cover all these items, giving you different idioms and grammar which are specialized for the IELTS use, some listening practices, and so on, right? I will show you now one of the vocab list that I have provided in the other courses. This is one of them. Just give me a second. This is one of them, guys. This about books and films, right? I just gave the people adjectives and nouns and expressions and so on. So every time we have this, we prepare ourselves for the next part. Another thing we have like some kind of called text practice. Test practice is that we give people like question to prepare like about books and films and so on. This time I give part 1, part 2, and part 3. And then we have like separate rooms or just time to discuss and prepare our questions for this part, right? So the next point that we have here is this online resource. In order to be able to start like looking through the speaking or the speaking activities, this is the link that I have selected. Of course, you can just visit and have yourself acquainted to use it. So I'm going to give you like a room for 5 minutes if there is somebody who is interested to ask about something before we start our course. Of course, we're starting the next Tuesday, 2 hours per week. I'm sorry, 4 hours per week for like 1 month consistently. Is there anybody who's interested to ask about anything, guys? Just open your mic and you're most welcome. By the way, even the question is not related to the course or is not because you are going to attend the course. If you have any general question about anything, I'm ready. I'm going to give you like 5 minutes starting now. Now it's 9:27 Egypt time zone. So is there anybody who's interested or who is eager to ask about anything?
Assalamu alaikum. Hey, how
Alaikum
are
salam, Sir Muhammad. Yes, sir.
you? I wanted to ask some information about the course. Is the course on the daily basis, or you have a concern on the IELTS topics, the mainly 50 IELTS topics?
The IELTS topic, you mean?
Yes.
Of course, it will be based on the IELTS topics, means the commonly used IELTS topics. And I will be providing you with like a PDF book, which includes all the topics that are expected in the coming exams, so like an IELTS speaking tests, with the model answer and like what we call a follow-up question. So the more you read the answer for the people, the more knowledgeable you become. So it's a IELTS topics based course.
So number two, I wanted to explain about something. I know I have previous knowledge about IELTS exam, and I took IELTS exam before. So someone told me that we have some vocab, band 8 vocab, band 9 vocab, something like this. Is there any vocab related to IELTS speaking?
Yes. Throughout the course, I'm going to provide you with like vocab lists, like a range of vocabulary list and different topics. Also, I'm going to provide you with like a book which has like 5,000 words to study for the IELTS and use them properly. And one thing, Mr. Muhammad, maybe you said that I wanna to, right? You said I wanna to. Okay. So according to the pronunciation we have, I wanna go. There's no to. Can you give me a sentence using I wanna, sir?
I wanna
Speak.
I wanna speak.
I wanna speak, yes. So I wanna means I want to. Just we put it together so it's wanna. The same idea with I'm going to, it's I'm gonna, right? Mix them together. This is a very common mistake. Thank you for your confidence, sir. Thank you very much. Guys, is there anything else?
I'm in Emirates. I want to know the time.
Yes, inshallah, inshallah we have decided because some people were just busy. It was Sunday and Wednesday, but we have arranged the course to be Tuesday and Friday. Friday 9 o'clock and Tuesday 8 o'clock. So 2 hours or 4 hours per week for like 8 weeks. Right.
8 o'clock for Cairo timeline?
Yes, Cairo time zone, yes. Cairo time zone.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Any other question, guys?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Tamer.
Sir Abdullah, hello.
Thank you very much for this interesting orientation session. Question is about how can we take the vocabulary knowledge from the passive area to the active area. I mean, I think you know what I mean, because I might know a lot of vocabulary, but using them can be a challenge sometimes. Like I use like a specific number, but there are a lot that I don't use. How can I find an effective solution for that?
In order for you to be knowledgeable enough, Mr. Abdullah, I think you have to have.
I'm mainly focusing on the point of practicality. How can I use them in a practical way?
Yes, I understand. Number one, we have something called the output and input, right? The input is based on two things, reading and listening, right? If you want to speak properly and you want to write properly, you have two things to practice, reading and listening. So the more you listen, of course, you'll be exposed to the language, and the more you read, you'll be exposed to the language. Of course, you can never improve your language, or what we call the lexicon, without being exposed to like a range of reading, a range of listening, and so on. So in this case, you will be depending on how to use this word in a context. And also you can check something called using words in context. And of course, you can have PDF books about using words in context. Or vocabulary. There is a book called Vocabulary in Use. By the way, it's a very common and a well-known book over the world, like globally. So using, Vocabulary in Use is one of the very valuable books that you can depend on if you want to increase your vocabulary, because it gives you themes. Like Mr. Abdullah, you'll be speaking about like maybe traveling. You have like all the list of words that you can depend on in order to talk about traveling. Okay, if you're going to use about migration, about disease, about health, about food, about books, about film, about education, so you have all the words which are related to this field. So my advice is that to focus on one theme and get all the words to talk about. That's why you will be just talking from all perspectives about one theme. One by one, step by step, you'll find yourself able to have like a range of vocabulary. And don't forget the idiomatic expressions, like expression to use in order to express certain ideas. And this way, I think it will be benefiting you very much. God bless you, sir. Yes, guys, any other questions? By the way, we said 5 minutes, but you know, in the Egyptian, 5 minutes could be like 10 or 12. Is there anybody who
Yes, can I ask you?
Yes, please, Miss Amal. Miss Amal or Miss Amani?
Amal.
Okay, Miss Amal, go ahead. You're brave enough, by the way. You are one of the ladies. Yes.
Dr. Tamer, I want to ask you, do we have to study the samples, the sample answers for the questions in the book that you talk about?
Yes, of course, of course. You know, sometimes you have a question, but you don't know how to answer the question. So the model answer can give you like perspective, like you can talk about this, you can talk about that. There is a point here, a point there. That's why you have, do you know what we call a spider diagram? Do you know spider diagram? You put the word in the middle of a cloud and try to say what I'm going to say about this word, this, that, and that. Of course, yes, thank you, God. I know this.